It's the SawCast where people speak on real topics every day, and I go by the name of Steve-O.
And I'm Ariel. Hey y'all. Anyway, so it's been a while since we've been here, you know what I'm saying? So we really miss everybody and miss, sharing information with all you guys. And so this week is definitely a different type of podcast. I just want to just give a little bit of a disclaimer that we were supposed to have more couples that were actually married on here, but marriage got in the way of that. It'll just things come up all the time. So we want to still just tell you guys that we do still have three different perspectives on marriage. So we do have me, Ariel, who is not thinking about marriage right now at all whatsoever, very much happy being single. And then we have Steven. Steven, how you feel about marriage right now?
The way I feel about marriage is that it's a beautiful thing and that it's going to happen for me sooner than later.
So Steven is on his way to getting married, and then our special guest, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and say where you are in the marriage process.
Yes, I'm Jenny, and I've been married for 4 years this July. Been together for about 6 years.
So yeah, Jenny's already married, has been married for a while, so she's going to give a great perspective. And I know Jenny personally. She was definitely on the Teachers podcast as well. So if you go back to that and listen to what she has to say about teaching, her career, she's really passionate about it, and she has some great insights on that. So go check that out. But we just wanted to let you guys know that even though we don't have as many married couples as we wanted to, we still have three different perspectives on marriage, and we all know what a successful marriage is to us. And Jenny, to me, being somebody that's close to her, has a great marriage to me. So I do want to spread positivity about marriage. I feel like marriage has been a lot of negativity has been placed on it. And so even though I don't want to pursue that right now, I feel like it's still a positive thing. So yeah, we can still get into it. Let's get into it.
Let's hop in. Let's go.
The first question is, why do you think marriage is important? What is the purpose of getting married? And we can start with Jenny, the person who's actually married.
Oh man, I don't know. I would say, growing up, to me, it was just like a tradition. It's a cultural tradition. If you don't know, where I'm from, where my family's from, we grew up in a very strict Latin American household. We spoke Spanish. Everything that we pretty much saw growing up is just very scripted as far as gender roles. So we saw what, a husband was supposed to look like and what the man's gender roles were supposed to be. We saw that for the woman. And so bottom line, what I saw growing up was just that it was just a tradition. It was just something that you were expected to do. It was something that you were expected to do very early on. A lot of people in my family, they either dropped out of school or maybe finished high school if they were lucky. And then, after that, it was like, all right, let's get married. I need to find a man. I need to start a family. And it all boils down to tradition. I saw something very different. I looked at all of this and I knew it was not what I wanted for my life. They pretty much showed marriage as a duty. You know what I mean? It was something that you were supposed to do, but it didn't look very fun. I never really saw 100% happy marriages, and so I'm like, if that's what marriage is, and I don't want that. I don't, want to be at home. I want to have a career. I want to get out of the house. I want to travel, see the world. But I definitely want someone to do that with. I wanted to have a really good friend. My husband now, he's my best friend. I go to him for everything. It's just this place of vulnerability, where you could just be yourself. And it's not it's never oh, I expect you to do this because you're my wife, or I expect him to do things because, he's my husband. But it's more about a partnership, and so growing up, I didn't really see a whole lot of healthy partnerships. It was just straight tradition. You do it because you had to do it. You were told to do it. And if you deviated from that, it was kind of frowned upon.
What culture are you saying you are from? So everybody can know.
Yeah, just traditional Latin American. My mom's side of the family is from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and my dad's from Puerto Rico. So very, very strict. all the women in my family, they pretty much were homemakers. They got married very early, probably like their late teens, early 20s. And so that's pretty much what they did. Yeah.
Okay. So, Stephen, what do you think? Like, what is the purpose of marriage to you? And, like, ever since, I'm just going to say this as a disclaimer, Stephen has, ever since we were young, Stephen has always talked about getting married. That was something he was always going to do in his life. He felt like he never was a guy who wanted to have a whole bunch of different females. He always wanted to have one person, and he wanted to be married. He wanted a family. So from your perspective, Stephen, why do you think that marriage is important to you?
I think marriage is important,
especially since our parents wasn't even married, and but you still knew that was something you was gonna do anyways.
Right? Because like she said, but it's like growing up in our family, we didn't have a lot of marriages. You know what I'm saying? So I just saw it as being more of a structural thing. Because I seen people make it work or something like that. But I always was like, man, I want somebody that I want to do things for and not feel like it's a chore. You know what I'm saying? Like when she said partnership, yeah, you do your end, I do my end, and sometimes that adjusts depending on where we at in life. Like I just feel like it's something that should be more of a norm. I feel like a lot of people, like you said, focus on the negative statistics of it.
Yes,
they be like 50% of people who get married. Well, 50% of people who get married are successful though. Why y'all talking about the 50% that don't? Right. We always look at the bad things about it. I feel like it's a beautiful thing, but you gotta know what you want, so you can know what you want in a person. Right. So I like from when I was young. Okay, they always say the thing about the mother. Because I was like, fool, my woman cook. My mother used to cook for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I need a woman to cook for me because I'm going to eat. I ain't really, you feel me? I could throw some stuff together, but I can't really cook like that. So like, I'm like, yeah, woman that cook for me. I just like, just being with somebody in love. I feel like it's the love part for me. Like, 'cause I feel like love is beautiful, and I feel like we should spend more time loving than hating. And I feel like if you have somebody that you love, like your life would just be easier. I feel like it makes life easier because when I was single, it's just more like too spontaneous for me. Like I like structure and I like routine. Cause all that spontaneous. It's cool occasionally. Too
spontaneous for you. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense now that you're saying that. Like seriously, because me and Steven, we were. Like, just me looking at my brother, we have grew up in the same household. We got the same mom. We got the same dad. We were together every single day. You know what I'm saying? But I am so spontaneous, and my brother is so structured. So, like, the fact that he said that is so true. Like, having somebody who, you love and who is in a partnership based off of the things that you care about. Like, he cares about, woman making him something to eat. Like, that's what he cares about, and nothing's wrong with that. And so I hate when people try to say like traditional gender roles and all that is a bad thing. Like, some people like that, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. So for me, like, why do I think people should get married? I used to think before I went to grad school and got an MBA that marriage was a partnership. And so, or a business. At first I thought it was a business, like before I went to business school. After I got my MBA, I figured out this definitely not a business. Like, the fact that motherfuckers is saying that, I know that you're not that educated. Because I had an education, I had a bachelor's, but I didn't have as much education in business as I do now. So I know that business is about money, period. That's not, like, a marriage can't be about that because it's not about money. It's about a partnership. And so a partnership can be a business, but a business is not necessarily always in partnership. You know what I'm saying? A business can be a sole proprietorship. You can have one person in charge of a business. You can have a corporation when 30,000 people are, a part of it. It's like they're not interchangeable. So a marriage to me is a partnership. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are together and you have a common goal, and your common goal is your legacy. And I feel like children don't have to be a part of the legacy. Like whatever you guys do to make the world a better place is your legacy. It's not necessarily you having children or anything like that. That's part of the legacy. Whatever you guys do together as a partnership is your legacy as a couple. And so I feel like that's what what a marriage is. Right now, I don't feel like I'm ready to get married just because I'm not whole in myself yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 100% on what I want in a partner right now. Once I figure that out, I feel like I'll be ready, but I'm just not. And so I feel like a marriage is about partnership, building something, doing something great for, like, coming together and doing something great together. Something bigger than you can do by yourself. You have somebody that's with you that can do something bigger than yourself. So that is, to me, the point of you getting married. If you get with somebody and it's just about love, that's completely okay. But if you see something in them that, like, you like, they can probably change the world, they can do this and that, you know what I'm saying, that to me would make me more want to be in a relationship with them. And you and him, you and that person, or you and her, whatever, him and her, him and him, whatever, if you guys are happy people and you guys are making each other happy, that is changing the world, because that is two people who are happy individuals in society. And it's not a lot of people who are like that. So even if your partnership is just like, we're coming together just to make the world a happier place, you're doing a lot for the world, because it's not a lot of people who are positive. It's not a lot of people who are happy. It's a lot of depressed people. It's a lot of suicidal people. So if that's what you're doing, that's still great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever your marriage is, it should be tailored to you. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm just not there is just because I'm not ready for that. But at some point, I don't see nothing wrong with being in a partnership or married like that. You know what I'm saying? Just know that, it's bigger than you. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than you. But it should start with you guys. You know what I'm saying? It should be a stable partnership. You know what I'm saying? And then just when you have a stable foundation, once it gets rocky, you can withstand the rockiness because it's stable on the foundation. Like, we both know our partnership was to come together to do this certain thing, like to be happy, right. And we're not gonna always be happy. We're not gonna always get along, but at some point, you know what I'm saying? That foundation is very important. Definitely. So that's my way. That's what I think. Anyways, so my next question is a wedding ceremony worth it? And so I already know what Jeannie's gonna say. I'm gonna go to Steven first, just because I know what Jeannie's gonna say. Steven, do you think a wedding ceremony is worth it?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
I feel like it's a celebration of the union between the two parties. So I feel like it should be, because I feel like that's the ultimate coming together of y'all's sides of the family. Of her people, your people. There's never gonna be another time, mainly, that y'all all gonna be there in the presence of each other, celebrating.
That's a great point. Okay, what about you, Jenny? What do you think? Because I know what you mean.
This may be more of a selfish response, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's about the both of us, and that was our main focus. And so we wanted to keep it small. We both had our parents, our mom and dad, and we went to Jamaica and did a whole little, they called it a wedding moon package, where we got married there, and then we just enjoyed our honeymoon. And for us, it was perfect. It wasn't about the flashy wedding and the high price tags and dishing out all this money just to feed people, and I think this is where some of that negativity can come into play. Sometimes it's other people that will bring that into your marriage, and we didn't really want to start off that way, because think about it. When we go to weddings, we are kind of critiquing it. It's a big show.
Yeah,
we're looking at the dress. We're looking at the tuxes. We're looking at the rings. We're looking at the cake. What are the meals? Were they good? Was that one better? How are you feeling about the experience overall? And so ultimately, it wasn't really like an emotional stress that I wanted to deal with. I wanted to just really enjoy my day. And, I had lots of conversations with my mom about it. And, because she had, a huge wedding, and for them, family was important, right? It's just like, Stephen said, it was the merging of your two families. And when else are you going to have all your family together like
right.
that? If it's not for some other large gathering, like, God forbid, a funeral, right? And so she did that. And she said, you know what? I did it for my family. I did it for them to be able to partake in this day, for us to all be together. But it was just a very expensive day for them. Unfortunately, it leaves a lot of couples in debt, and it's not really something that we wanted to start our marriage off with. We didn't want to be
that's interesting.
in debt. When it comes to the rings, right now on my hand, I've got, a silicone band. I do have a beautiful wedding ring, but it's not, it's not a real diamond. We decided to go with a different cut, precious, stone. And it was just another way for us to keep the cost down, because ultimately for us, it wasn't about the material things. We love our family, but it's just like, it was us.
Okay.
It was about us.
But everybody knows, like, if you know me personally, you know how much that, that my friends are kind of similar to me. And so Jenny is very, very, very intelligent. She's just like me. She has a master's. She went to IU. She has a bachelor's. So she knows, just knowing her, she did research on marriage before she probably got married. And she saw that one of the big reasons why people get divorced is because of finances. So as you can hear what she's saying, a lot of her choices were to try to eliminate that issue. Sounds like to me. So
absolutely. I mean, we grew up, very middle class. My parents, they were very poor. There was substance abuse. There was, not food on the table. Like, when I say poor, I mean, like, they were hungry. And so that's instilled in me. I am terrified of that. And so for us, we've just always been very financially literate. We had to take it upon ourselves to learn, what that looked like and how to be successful. And sure, we want to buy nice things, and, we just have to make sure that we budget everything out. A wedding was just not something that we were willing to put money into. At the time, I actually finished my master's that year. We got married 2 months before I finished my master's degree, and he was actually finishing up his training as well. In school to be an aviation technician. And so we're still in school. You know what I'm saying? So funds were not really there. I'm not saying we were struggling, but it's like we had other priorities. We wanted to buy a house. So why did we not do the wedding? We wanted real estate. We wanted to buy a house. I mean, that's something that is in the long run is going to put us in a better financial situation than to dish out tens of thousands of dollars on a wedding. And it's just really all about what you want. I mean, if the funds were there, would I have done it differently?
No.
I don't know.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I can't say for certain, but knowing myself, my personality, no, I'm not sure that I...
I know you, and I know you would have not have done it.
I don't think that I would have.
If you had the funds there, you probably would have did a bigger trip.
There you go.
You probably would have did a longer trip.
Right. You would have seen us in Fiji. Probably.
Right.
First class. You know what I'm saying? So, that's right. That's right.
You would have did a better trip.
To a lot of people, it may come off as like really selfish. Guys, I lost friends. You know what I'm saying? I lost really good friends because, I didn't tell them we're getting married. I lost childhood friends, and unfortunately, like, they were not respectful of our decision. A lot of people on social media, for example, they were like, oh my God, like, you got married? I didn't even know you were dating someone. Like, I didn't even know you were engaged. We didn't see the engagement. Like, I was supposed to put a video on social media to make it official.
Right.
Like, we are, it's about us. Like, we're very private people. I think that that's one of, like, the biggest things that has brought success to our relationship. Not everyone needs to know what you're doing, what moves you're making, what you're planning. No one needs to know about that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to put on a big show. I don't have to prove to anyone that I'm happy. You don't need to know anything. Just know that we're happy. You know
right.
what I'm saying? And the fact that I lost those friends, it's like they were not
snapping, y'all.
They were just like they were not meant to be in my life.
Yeah, they spin that poetry.
That's my secret. I mean, look at Jay-Z and Beyonce. I mean, we could go ahead.
We don't know nothing about what's going on.
Exactly. Did you see them in the tabloids? Because I don't.
I really don't.
Together.
Okay, so my opinion is the wedding ceremony worth it. I've always had the notion that I never wanted to have a marriage. I always wanted to get married with my mom, with my immediate family, which is my brother, my sisters, and my mom and my dad. Other than that, maybe like my best friends who, I probably wanted like 2 of my friends, and I really want the ones who are married, like my best friend and one that's married there. Other than that, I don't really want everybody there because I feel like the marriage ceremony, to me, in my opinion, is blessings to me and my marriage. And so I wanted to be, surrounded by people who, on our journey, these are the people we're about to go and like talk to get through shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk to my brother to get through shit. I'm gonna talk to Jenny because I'm gonna get through shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk to my best friend Tara because I'm gonna get through shit. My mom, of course, my dad, but his mom, his dad, his best friend. But us outside of that, it's like I don't see, in my opinion, the point in having everybody else there. To me, it's about blessing the marriage. And that's just me and how I feel about it. So, in my opinion, no. But to, like, just an overall thing, like, just overall, whatever you think is what you should do. You know what I'm saying? If you think you want to do that, do it. If you don't think you want to do that, then don't do it. What you about to say, Steven?
I was about to say them are three good different perspectives.
Yeah, honestly, it's really honestly, I feel like whatever you want to do it. But me, in my opinion, I want everybody there who's going to bless us, and I want the most closest people to us and our problems and our issues that we're going to have, and people we're going to lean on to like be there to be like, yes, we bless it, and yes, we're going to go through this shit with y'all. Cause it's not like, not saying like Jenny going to say later that you shouldn't have a lot of problems, but I'm a problem person, so things do come up because I'm very like, reactionary. So sometimes things are going to come up just because I'm bipolar. Sometimes I feel like one way, sometimes I feel like another. So when I want somebody to talk to, I want the people there that I'm going to talk to, not people who I'm not going to talk to, Yeah, we're friends. Yeah, we're friends. Yeah, we grew up together, whatever. But when we have problems in our relationship, are you going to be the person I can call? No. Like, do you understand how we got here? No. So that's not the people who I want there. I only want people there who are going to be there. And so, like Jenny, I really enjoy traveling, so it's probably going to be somewhere outside of where we're at because I don't even want it to be in the same city because they're going to be like, oh, it's in the same city, you didn't invite us, none of that. Like, none of that. Like, oh, you had it here and nobody's coming. No. We had it in, like Jenny said, Fiji somewhere or Barcelona. So there's no way you're going to be able to come anyway, So,
say like, oh,
yeah.
I'm not inviting you. It's like, okay, I mean, you could come. Are you gonna pay for the airfare? Because they won't.
You already know everybody's gonna drop out after that, anyways.
So that eliminates that problem.
Yeah, just some tips for the people who are trying to get married. Like if you want to avoid people coming, then have it somewhere else, and then a lot of people will drop off, just off the face of the earth. And then that will also show you who's going to be there for you as well. Like if they make an effort to come, then they're going to make sure that they're going to do whatever they can to make sure you guys, they care about your marriage. Like, I'm going to put my money on the line and fly and get a room and all of that because I really, really support you guys, And so the people who don't will drop off, and that's what happened in a marriage that I had actually planned. A lot of people who were in a family, they dropped off, but those weren't the people who are very supportive of the marriage anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Right. Next question, is the person that you choose to get married to, is that very important? Like how, like why did you choose that person, or what would make you choose that person to get married? Jenny, I'll let you go first.
Oh man, this is a tricky question.
Yeah, like why did you choose Eric?
I just want to start off and say, I feel like if you're in your early 20s, maybe your mid 20s, I probably would not be thinking about marriage, and I say that because
this is somebody who's always already married. Everybody
yes,
saying this.
You're an entirely different person. Like, if you don't really feel like you have yourself together, or you know what you want in life, you know where your career is going, you know what your goals are, then I think you should really pause, right? I don't think you should really be thinking about taking the next step towards marriage. So with that being said, once you have all of those things figured out, there are a couple of things that, personally I would look at, because stability is really important to me. Finances, yes, that's an extremely big part of marriage. It's not something we like to talk about. I'm not saying you should get married for money, but it's certainly something that you want to think about, because you don't ever want to get into a union and realize, like, oh my gosh, this person is horrible at managing finances. A lot of couples will fight about that. I certainly don't want to be homeless. I don't want the light to be cut out. I want to make sure we have food. I want to make sure that we're feeling secure.
Very important.
That is maybe the traditional side of me. I've had, the advantage of having a 2-parent household. My dad was an amazing provider. He still is an amazing provider. And so he was ultimately a role model for me. So that was something that, of course, I'm going to be looking for in a man. Respect is going to be something, that I'm going to be looking for in my partner. Is he going to respect what I want? Are we going to find a way to compromise? My husband and I, Eric, we're very different people. I'm very career driven. School's very important to me, having an education. I have a master's degree. My husband, he has a 2-year training, and that's fine. That's what he wanted to do, but he never, would put me in a position to where I wasn't able to accomplish my goals. He's always been super supportive. So having that respect, having that support for your partner is super, super important. And then ultimately, guys, of course, love needs to be there, right? You need to have physical attraction. That's, the chemistry that you have with your partner, the love that you guys have for each other. Ultimately, like, that willingness to go the next step. Just being considerate. I mean, I never have to ask my husband for anything. He's always like, before I even think about it, he's done it. And that is, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, guys, let me tell you this. This is really it may sound really ridiculous, but listen to this. So my ex, right, I almost married him. Thank goodness I didn't. Went through a little test. So he was at my house with my parents, and my mom asked him one day to take the trash out. He said no.
Yuck.
He said,
and everybody know how I feel about that. Yuck.
You know what I'm saying? And he was just like, no, I'll do it later. And he walked off.
Yuck.
My mom looked at me. We both looked at each other, and we knew. My mom looked at me. She's like, oh, Jennifer, good luck with that one. And sure enough, that was a huge warning sign. You think that that's nothing, but again,
that
I found
definitely
out
would have been a warning sign for me.
Months later, his willingness to step up and do things. We're not asking for much. I'm not asking you. I mean, I wasn't even asking you to pay a bill. We asked you to take the trash out. I'm not gonna touch the trash.
Right, I am a hoe girl like that.
Okay, and it's dark outside. I'm not going out there. I'm not walking to a dumpster. We were living in an apartment at the time. Like, I don't want to do that.
No.
And so his willingness to just step up and do things just out of consideration is amazing. Are you willing to be thoughtful and go the next step? So those for me, like, are the big things. Like, you have to talk about finances. I'm sorry. Like, if you are just marrying for love, I think that you are walking into, like, a not good situation. You have to talk about finances. Love has to be there. Respect, consideration, all of those things have to be there for me.
Okay. Steven, what about you?
I mean, she pretty much.
I swear to God, she did. Like, what do we have to say?
Like, it's like a mic drop moment at that point, Like, I mean, I agree. I agree. You have to have all those things and all those components, and that's what you look for.
I feel like that's really like a great.
That should be the standard right now. Right, that should be the standard. She knocked that one out the park. Home run. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny. We can go to the next question now. Because like I said, I agree with everything she said as well. So there's no thing that I would go against what she just said. So, do you feel like you were whole before you got into marriage, or so? Do you feel like you need to be a whole person before you get married? I'll ask that question. Steven, you can go first.
You said a whole.
Yeah, do
when
you feel like you
saying
have to be a whole? Like, do you have to like know yourself completely, or feel like you can accomplish everything that you need to as a person before you get married to somebody?
I feel like you do have to know yourself completely, for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely have to know yourself completely, for sure. But as far as the accomplishments, that depends on you, and if you feel like that partner that you're seeking can assist you with those accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I don't know what those accomplishments could be. They could be personal. They could be financial. They could just be, you know, something that's just in something that you motivate yourself in a goal. You know, but I definitely do. You know, but believe that. So
Yeah. What about you, Jenny? Do you feel like you have to be a whole person? And were you a whole person before you got with your husband?
I would say partially. I feel like I had everything up to the point of like, I would say my financial goals. I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard today. I mean, I think our generation, it's just really hard to achieve things like home ownership. You know, buying a brand new car, you're financing school, right? You've got student loans. I think that is really challenging. Those are things that previous generations, they didn't really have to, you know, worry about those things. My parents, you know, they were married at 23, 24 years old. They bought their first home like a year after that. They had 2 kids when they got here, and they moved right into a 4-bedroom house with like a basement and I mean, I'm like, wow. We can't do that at 23. I
No,
was
we
barely,
cannot.
you know, I was struggling to pay for my apartment by myself. And so it's, you
At
know, for
23, we
me,
cannot
I
do
mean,
that.
that's insane to me. You know, I would say like my financial goals, it's something that I definitely need help with. And, you know, my husband wasn't really well off either when we first got married. And so, but together, I mean, oh my gosh, together we are the dream team. I mean, we're almost credit card debt free. I mean, and we've been doing this for the past 5 months. We are almost credit card debt free. You know, cars paid off. I just was able to upgrade my car. We're in not our first home, but our second home. You know, we were able to, you know, accomplish these things together. You know, if I were single, would I have been able to do these things? Sure, probably. Definitely not this quickly. You know, definitely not this quickly. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Just having 2 incomes has really helped our financial goals for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to me, like, do I feel like I need to be whole? I feel like I said before, I'm not with somebody because I don't think I'm whole, and I'm not saying like a whole 100%. I feel like I don't really know exactly what, you know, I want right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm having a good time figuring it out, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm just so like wishy-washy every day. Like some days I want this and some days I want that. But I think that might take somebody who's more structured for me to get with, who's going to know exactly like, hey, we need to stop being wishy-washy every day. So that might be something that I'll be, you know, that I need. I don't know, but I do feel like you need to know yourself. You need to know what your boundaries are. You need to know, you know, this, and that, so that you can help your other person, because the person that you're going to be with ultimately in a great relationship, you're going to be able to help them based off of everything that you have, and they're going to be able to help you based off of what they have. And so if you don't know what you like or what you know, what you need in a relationship, what your love language is, and you know what your finances are and all that before you get with somebody, then that's going to be an issue. Or you don't have a financial, you know, plan for yourself already intact, that's going to be an issue, because then they're going to look at when y'all get married, because a lot of people get married off of love and don't think about any of that. Then they get together and they're like, ooh, our finances are fucked. So, you know, and then that's stressful, you know, and then if you a person who actually does things the right way, if your finances are bad, then that's going to hinder you from doing other things. You're not going to try to get around the shit. Like some people do weird shit to get around it, but you know, you won't try to get around it. So like, I do feel like you need to, as a wholeness as a person, as far as like just knowing where you lack, where your issues are, where you need help in, you know what I'm saying, knowing, you know, your love language, how you want to be loved, you know, knowing what makes you happy, what makes you not happy. That to me is important before you get married. No, I haven't been married, but I've been around people who have been married, and a lot of their issues is because they did not know each other before they got together. Like, and they didn't know themselves before they got with this other person. They was like, we in love, so we just gonna sign some paperwork. Like, no, like you shouldn't be signing paperwork if you don't know who you are. Like don't do that. And it's like, we're like Jenny said, we're not in the situation to where it was back then where we can sign some paperwork with less risk. You know what I'm saying? The risks are so much higher now because of what millennials have to deal with. Everybody past millennials have to deal with debt wise. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely need to know yourself before you just go into a lifelong commitment. And I feel like everybody needs to look at it like that. Like, don't look at it like it's like it shouldn't look at it like it's a easy thing to get out of. You should look at it like I'm committed to this person lifelong. We are in a lifelong partnership. Okay, don't look at it like we're in a partnership and one signature away from being out of it. No, look at it like this is the person I chose to be in a partnership with forever. This is my dog. Like, so once you look at it like that, then I feel like it'll last longer. But this is gonna be a good question for this group. Do you guys think kids affect the marriage? We're gonna start with Jenny on this one. Oh, did I start with Jenny last time? I'll go.
We can start with you this time.
Oh, with me? Okay, cool. Does kids affect the marriage? Absolutely. I've never seen a marriage that was not affected by having children. I feel like children require a lot of responsibility, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and I feel like a lot of times people have children because they're selfish, you know what I'm saying? And I want to have kids right now, not thinking about their situation, how the kids are going to be living, not thinking about what school the kids are going to go to because you're in the hood. So why the fuck would you want your kids to go to the hood ass wretched ass school? You know what I'm saying? It's not okay. IPS is fine, you know what I'm saying? But let's keep it 100. If you're in a nicer IPS area, then your kids are going to have a better, diversity experience than if you're in the worst hood up ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't just be having kids just because I love my baby daddy. Like, that's not a reason for you to have kids. Like, have kids because you want to have your offspring that show them like, oh, look, this is what your parents did and you can do this too, and I want to pass this off to you because I've raised you well enough to pass this off to you. But like I said before that, it's definitely going to affect your marriage. If you don't think it will, you're crazy. I am a person who reads a lot about marriages. I watch a lot of interviews. I watch a lot of TV shows. I watch a lot of things about marriage. So every time they talk about kids, it's definitely affected. So it's definitely something that needs to be thought about. It's definitely something that, honestly, to be quite honest, the most successful kids that I've ever seen have been created out of love, like not lust. People need to understand the difference between lust and love. Once you have kids out of love, like I love this man, we love each other. When we're together, we're happy. You know what I'm saying? You have love. You know what I'm saying? The baby is marinated in love. Once the baby is marinated in hate, or baby comes out of not a love situation or a lust situation, and then the dad, once he's out of lust, he's tired of being around the mother, then that's not going to work. The man has to love the mother. It has to be out of love. And every time I've seen that, the kids have turned out well. So definitely something that will affect the relationship. But if it's done out of love, you guys can do it together in your guys' partnership. So that's my opinion on it. So Jenny, I'll go with Jenny. Then I'll go with Stevie because I already know what you're gonna say too, Stevie.
Gosh, I don't even know how to start this. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think if you for one, I feel like your marriage just needs to be ready for that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have kids, out of marriage. I certainly feel like, though, that commitment needs to be there. There needs to be some kind of stability before you bring children into the world. You guys both need to be on the same page about how it's going to work. And I feel like I have that perspective, one, because I'm a woman. I would have to, take on that physical burden initially, and I have to think about my time. You know, my education and my career is very important to me, because of that physical burden that I would be taking on. Like, I'm going to be out of work. My life is going to be a little bit more disrupted. And so, you know, once we move past that, you know, we need to have some kind of system. I need to feel like I'm going to be supported in some way. And a man will show you. I mean, before that even comes, you know, even
That's
before that
100%
happens,
true.
like, he will show you what he's about. You know, and so yes, I feel like you definitely need to take steps to protect yourself and not have a child, just out of lust, because you really don't know much about that person. You don't know how responsible they're going to be, what they're going to be able to provide for you financially, because the bottom line is, ladies, you're going to be out. Like, you're going to be out of work. Again, the man does not have to carry the child, and so that's just an additional burden you have to think about. You know, once the child gets here, you know, how are you two going to adjust? How's your communication level? Because if you guys are not communicating well before the child comes, well, then once you throw a kid in the mix, like, good luck. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have a kid screaming at you. You have a child that is completely 100% dependent on you. How are you guys going to communicate when this baby is, like, literally fighting for your attention because it just needs that attention at this moment? You know, it's completely dependent on you guys. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be in place before you have a child. I mean, has it been done successfully? Of course it has. But I feel like you definitely have to have a stable and healthy relationship, or marriage, before you go into it. Because if not, I feel like you're asking for trouble. I mean,
I feel like sometimes, like, I feel like a little bit that some of y'all need to, like, get a pet and try to parent it together, and then see what happens with the pet. And then you will 100% know what you're going to do, because a pet isn't as strenuous as a kid, but you still gotta take them to the doctor. You still gotta feed them every day. You still gotta take them out to pee. They're still needing all of your attention. So if you do that first, you will definitely know what the fuck is gonna happen if you get a baby. Steven, what you think?
Yes, of course, kids affect the marriage. I mean, that's, you know, you're adding another entity, or another few entities into the existence. Like, a lot of people struggle. When I see people when they have children, they struggle with the time. You gotta make time still for your partner. You know, whether it be your partner in a marriage, or whether it just be your partner in a relationship. Like, a lot of people get lost in that fact, or they hold some things that were they harbor some energy that was from years ago, and then they have it affect they don't realize how much it affects the child's existence. You know, like, I'm a firm believer in energy. You know, energy, we can't destroy energy. You know, we can barely destroy some of these objects. Like, I could take the laptop and smash it, but it's still there. You know what I'm saying? So energy really transfers. So you, like you said, Ariel, like, when you harboring, like, when you got that child, it's coming into existence with that energy on them. So now it's like, and then, like, with Jenny, you said, like, y'all gotta be working together, and y'all ain't working together on bad energy. Okay, now y'all just, everything, you know, that y'all do is just affected, and a child just another one of them things. And then the child is coming up, you know, seeing that, because children are one of the most observer. You know, they observe a lot. You know, they observe more than probably any other human being is a child, because what they doing, they looking, they seeing, they repeating, looking, they seeing, they repeating. So you gotta know, like, all right, are we on the right, like Jenny said, are we on the right page? You know, and like you said, Ariel, like, is our energy right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta be like, are we in the right space to have a child? Like, and it's hard. You know, the first step I say to a lot of stuff is admitting. And if y'all can't admit that y'all not that y'all not where y'all need to be for a child, then that's gonna mess up your relationship. That might mess up your finances. That's gonna mess up how y'all. That's gonna mess up how y'all feel.
We didn't even talk about that part, but
that's gonna mess up how y'all feel about stuff. You know,
I feel like that's a lot where the breakdown comes from. It affects a lot more things than just
it's a ripple
time.
effect.
It is.
People don't think about that ripple effect.
I didn't
even
think about that.
And then it's that compromise. Like, are you willing to do something that your partner ain't to help raise the child?
Yeah.
You know, some people don't. They like, oh, well, you gonna do all this, and then I'm gonna do all this. It's like, sometimes you can't just, you know, you gotta bend and flex. Like, you can't just be like, I ain't doing that. I ain't gonna do that, or I ain't gonna do this. It's like, look, man, y'all gotta be on the same page. If y'all not on the same page,
Right.
it's gonna affect your marriage or your relationship in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like you both have to be going to it knowing that we're both going to have to raise this child.
You both gotta
It's
be
not
committed.
going to be just me. You know what I'm saying? Any man that I have a child with is already going to know that I am not about to have this child 24/7 because I'm going to fucking go insane. So you're going to have to know that some point I'm going to hand this child over to you, and I'm going to expect you to provide them with the same amount of care that I do. And so if you're not capable of that, then we're not ready to have children.
Exactly.
And if you are capable of that, then maybe we might be ready. We might be ready.
This is where it would have been good to have those additional perspectives.
Yeah,
Like,
because they definitely have children. And so,
yes,
yeah, I
different
think
generations.
in the other people's perspective, I think one couple, it definitely didn't really hurt their marriage like that because they put their marriage before the kids.
Yes. Yeah.
But the other couple, they didn't want kids. Like one of them didn't want kids, and then the other person had the kids anyway.
It was that lustful
And
thing.
that ruined their relationship because the person said before, I didn't want to have kids, and they still had them, and then expected that out of them.
Maybe they both want kids, and
Yeah,
they just said to each other, "Oh, we'll just figure it out afterwards."
No, one of them didn't.
parents told me that
One of them
too.
didn't want kids, and one of them did, and one of them kept. Like the woman is the one who did, and she had them, and that caused resentment in the husband.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened with one. But one couple, like I said, they were married. Like she had been married to her other husband for years, and the kids never was a factor in their marriage because they put themselves over their relationship over the kids. And so that's one thing that I've learned too. Like your relationship needs to be as solid as possible because I hate when people say I'm putting my kids over everybody else because I feel like that's good for single mothers who don't have a man. But if you are in a relationship with the man that has the kids, then the kid, like you and their relationship should be over the kids because kids feed off of y'all's relationship. They're paying attention to what y'all's doing. You know what I'm saying? If y'all not happy together, they're going to feed off of that and be like, is this what it's supposed to be like?
Exactly. You setting them up.
I don't know. I don't think I want this, or it would make them feel bad. Like Jenny, we was talking about this too when kids be like, I think it's my fault that my parents got a divorce. You know what I'm saying? It's because they had a child, not necessarily you are the reason. It's because they weren't ready for a child, period. You know what I'm saying? So, and like Steven said, that caused a ripple effect with everything else. We already had bad communications and now we got worse. We already had, our finances were getting better, but with the child, they getting worse now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a heavy burden than we thought it would be. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, I feel like that was a great thing for us to talk about. Anyways, my next question is: does family affect the marriage? Does outside things affect your marriage? Steven, what do you think?
Yes and no.
Okay, depends on the partnership, huh?
It depends on the partnership, and it depends on how much you involve those people, outside entities. Because, like Jenny was saying earlier, the more privacy you have, the less the less effect of the family. Because I do believe that just in general, I would want my spouse's family to be at least well-rounded overall. I'm not saying that they all have to be millionaires or they all have to have the best jobs. I'm just saying all have pretty good energy,
Yeah.
Or all be cool people, all people who care about something, not just a bunch
So
of
the family does
negatives.
matter to you. Like that would matter to you in choosing who your spouse was.
Yeah, the family would
Okay.
matter for sure to me. But as far as affecting a marriage or a relationship, specifically a marriage, for sure, because when you confide in people, you got to be careful, like because what you throw out into existence is what people know. They don't know everything, but the more you tell them, the more opinions they're gonna have. So you gotta be careful what you tell people, because then family is always gonna be on your side anyway. So a family member might have not liked that person that you with for some odd reason, and then when you say something, now it's like, yeah, I really don't like them, and now they feed negativity anytime you tell them anything. So you have to be careful with that, because it's like, yes, your family could affect, but it's also the amount of things that you tell your family, because you still have to keep more personal things personal, and that's where it comes to home, is y'all have to have that open space to communicate, because if y'all not communicating correctly, then y'all gonna include outside parties that don't need to be included, so a family does have an effect, but how much effect it has depending on the couple, depending on y'all communication with each other and with outside entities.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Jen? Does family affect it?
I completely agree with Steven. I think it's what you allow. You can really determine how much you want your family involved. Does their family matter? I mean, in my situation, like, I don't really care too much for my husband's family. They are just very forward, abrasive people, and for us, it wasn't really an issue. It's not really an issue because he's not very close with them, and so there's not really a whole lot of opportunity for them to meddle. They did try at the beginning of our marriage, but we put a stop to that, or I should say I did, because in this particular situation, I would like to say I wear the pants. I just kind of guide him, and he's like, okay, if it makes sense and it's financially responsible, because he's all about money.
I don't want her to say that she guides the relationship as much, but she but period in the relationship, as just outside looking into their marriage, she definitely puts the options out there, and then he's like, okay, based off the options that my wife has given me, this is the best option we should go with. So it's interesting. Yeah. Yes. I see that all the time with y'all.
Especially when it comes to the family guys. Like, if it just, I kind of handle the family matters, right? Like, it's tradition. It's like, if it's something that's going to impede on what we got going on in our relationship, I'm going to shut it down. Mm-hmm. So she was meddling, so I had to put a stop to that. Mom tried it too, and the beauty of marriage, though, is that, like, you can design it however you want.
That's what I really want to get through to everybody.
What you want. My mom used to say to us when we first got married, oh, Jenny, like, what are y'all doing? Like, you guys aren't spending time together. Like, you guys are, like, never together, because she would be like, oh, you're going on a trip with Ariel. When are you going on a trip with your husband? When are you guys going to, like, be? I'm like, don't worry about it. I see my husband. We live in the same house. We sleep in the same bed. I'm with my husband. I don't need to put it on display. And secondly, it's really none of your business.
People asked us that when we were in Mexico as well, because Jenny is Hispanic. Yes. So they know that based off of how she talks to them. Yeah. And so they're like, where's your husband at? They used to ask her that. They used to ask her that.
Where's your husband? Is he not accompanying you? Like, what is that? And that boils down to just the culture, right? Mm-hmm. It's just the traditional culture. But again, you really have the power to decide how you want your marriage to be, and how involved you want, each side of the family, like how much they can be involved. And I would say, like, the ultimate advice is less is better, guys. Less is better, because they're going to, like, sway your decisions. They may sway you off, another path that your spouse and you, like, did not agree upon. I mean, it's a partnership. You don't have to involve the whole family. You're asking for trouble.
Yes, I agree. So with family, should they be involved? I don't think that they should. The way that my family works, and this is just we're all saying our opinions, but the way my family works is that, and this is why I admire, and this is what I was telling my best friend about my brother. We all tell our opinions based off of what decision we're going to make. We've told my brother based off of our opinions what we think Steven should do. And Steven does what Steven wants to do. Ultimately, he definitely sits there and listens to what we have to say. And he doesn't turn down what we have to say. Like, no, sometimes I would even turn down what people be like, our family says, like, that's crazy as fuck. But Steven does not do that. He'll be like, okay, I feel you. This is this is how you feel about a situation. But ultimately, his decision is his. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel like with family, I would do it. I'm not going to take everything they have to say and make my decisions about it. I'm going to accept what they have to say and then make my own decisions. So I feel like, you know what I'm saying, your family only knows what you tell them. Like, you know what I'm saying, when you're living in your house by yourself, everything that happens every day, they don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But if they see something just because they happen to be there, then, you know, I'm okay with them saying, you know, how they feel about it, but I'm ultimately going to make my own decision. And so in a marriage, I feel like it's like Jenny said, it is a partnership. It's between what me and him wants to do. You know what I'm saying? And the partnership and what we stand on is going to be based. I mean, that's going to be what makes us last longer. You know what I'm saying? If we stick to what we think as a couple, then we're going to last long. If we start to change our opinions and sway our opinions based off of what outside people got to say, then that's when we're going to break apart, because the foundation is getting broken apart. We've already said foundationally this is what we want to elevate. You know what I'm saying? So once we start letting other people's opinions and stuff sway our judgment, then that's when we're going to have problems. So no, like, you should not, me in my opinion, no, don't listen to, like, you don't have to, like, take into account what your family say. Well, yeah, let them say what they want to say, just because you, like, I love you, and you know, you have your own opinion, and I don't want to shut that opinion down. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I'm going to make my own decisions. And so, like I said, that's how I feel about my brother. Like, he ultimately makes his own decisions, but he does listen to what we have to say. And so that's just what it is. That's how I feel like it's going to work. But like I said, don't ask them everything. Like, don't let them be off in everything that y'all got going on. Like I said, if they see something happen to, like, because if you're close with your family and sometimes they come over, they might see something that they might think is weird. I'll listen to what you got to say, but after that, I'm going to make my own decisions. And if it's a decision based off of the foundation that I have with my husband, then we're going to last longer. So that's my opinion on it. Anywho, what's our next question? We're going almost to an hour, so I'm gonna try to hurry up. Is there but this, to me, this marriage podcast is very important. So I don't really give a fuck how long it is, because it's not gonna be 2 hours or nothing like that, y'all. But I really want to people, like, at some point in the universe, to get from this, like, you know what I'm saying, we want black people to be more so in marriages. We want to promote that. Even though I'm not into that right now, doesn't mean I don't promote that. I do promote, like, if you look at the statistics and everything, everybody around me has a college diploma. Everybody on here on this podcast has a college diploma, okay? From a school that does not play no games. From a university. Not from no fucking stupid ass schools. From a university that matters. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we all know that marriages excel you in life. Ain't nobody has got no marriage with somebody who makes sense and hasn't excelled to another level stratosphere. Yes. That's not. So marriage is definitely going to take you to the next status in the world. That's just how, especially in the United States, that's just how it's built. You know what I'm saying? So we want to promote black marriages so that we can get to the next level like everybody else. So I really, if this goes longer, it's okay for me, because I feel like it's very much needed. Anyways, let's go to the next one. What is, to you guys, what is a happy marriage? You know, I'll start with Jenny. What is a happy marriage to you?
That's a tricky question. I mean,
it definitely is. It's definitely subjective.
Yes. In general, I feel like, everyone's marriage is going to look different, right? I mean, what someone, you know, wants in their marriage could be different than another's. And to me, though, personally, like, what is a happy marriage? I don't know, like, you know, my husband's deployed right now. He's been gone for about 5 months. He's in Kuwait, and, you know, before he left, we actually started watching, it's on Amazon Prime, the Married at First Sight, because Eric told me about it.
Yes,
right? So
I love that show.
I was like, let me look into this, right?
I love that show. It was
really funny. So, you know, Eric and I are laying in bed. We just, you know, we're picking out on chips. We're watching this, and we're just looking at each other like, this is ridiculous.
Yes,
right?
It definitely is.
And, you know, we see these couples. Of course, they don't know each other very well, so they're yelling, and oh my gosh. And, you know, he turns to me and he's like, Jenny, we have a good marriage. Like, oh my gosh, like, we got it really good. I was like, we do, don't we? We got a really good marriage. And, like, we communicate so well. Like, I think that is, like, the biggest part of it. Like, whenever we have something that's on our mind, it's on our heart or spirit, like, we have that level of vulnerability to where we can actually go to each other, be 100% honest. Even if we know it's going to make the other person mad, like, don't drag that out. Just say what you need to say, be respectful about it, communicate it, and then get over it. Give yourself a couple of minutes to like feel your feelings. Like, you're going to be upset. You're going to say some shit to each other that's going to really piss you off. I get it. You can feel it, but you have to let it go. People hold on to things for a day, 2 days, 3 days. I've seen this in my house, and they still do this. My parents, I mean, they will hold a grudge. Let me be specific. It's my mother. She will hold a grudge for days, for weeks. She'll bring up stuff that happened 10 years ago, and she knows the exact date and hour because that's Ruthie. She's crazy. You know?
I love Ruthie, y'all, so I'm not gonna let her talk like about Ruthie like that. She's the truth.
But you just can't do that. It's not healthy,
Ruthie.
guys. You cannot do that. Give yourself a few minutes and then move on, because that's the healthiest way to deal with your conflicts. And you have to have honest conversations. You have to have good communication. And I love that about our marriage. We just were so open. And that has been the biggest part of our happiness. Whatever we have on our hearts, like whatever we have to say to each other, we say it honestly. We're very truthful with one another. We say it compassionately. We have empathy. I think that's the key. I don't think we talk about that enough. You have to be able to put yourself in that other person's shoes and say, how are they going to, and how are they going to react to what I have to say to them? You have to have that ability to understand the other person's perspective and how they're going to feel. A lot of people don't have that. They're like, well, I just want to do what I want to do, and I don't really care about him and whatever, right? Because you're upset. But you have to have empathy. You have to have compassion. Like, you are, like, it's another person. Like, you're living with another person. You guys, you went into it together thinking, like, okay, like, I want to make this commitment. This is going to be a lifelong thing. You have to have that. I don't understand how you can live with a person for the rest of your life and, like, not have empathy. Like, you have to know. Like, you have to have it down, guys. Like, I know the way my husband thinks now. I know how he's going to react to certain things. Like, I know him. You know what I mean? I know him. You have to know your partner on that level. If you don't know them on that level, then, like, I don't know. I'm not saying you shouldn't get married, but, like, gosh, it's gonna
why
be
would you
roughy.
get married if you don't even know them on that level?
Right.
Like, stop.
It's gonna be like a really rough ride in the beginning. Like, you have to be willing to work past that. And I mean, I have it very good with my husband. Like, we've known each other since we were 5 years old. Like, best friends. I know everything about him. It's insane. Like, he's my person. You know what I mean? I'm gonna cry, guys.
Oh my goodness!
Beautiful moments on the podcast.
You know we love this.
SawCast.
You know we love that type of shit.
Yeah,
That's my
we bring the
person.
true emotions out.
Yeah.
He's coming home soon. I just,
He cannot wait, y'all.
We got 4 more months. It's been a long 5 months, but like that's my person. That's my soul, my inner being, my other half. That's my. I mean, he's my everything at this point.
Oh my goodness, I can't. Okay, Steven.
It's hard to come after that one.
We should not have started with her. Like,
Lord.
she fired. She fired. What's a happy marriage, Steven?
I mean, that's another one where she kind of.
She always gets it together because she's married already.
Right. So some questions it's kind of like, oh, I got this one.
Right.
I'm in a happy marriage. I got this one.
Right.
I got this, guys.
Right.
Let me
She's
tell you
already
about
in
my
one of those.
marriage. That's all I'm going to do. But yeah. I know the same thing, like, and that's why I love being in a relationship with my woman, because it's like when the communication is there, where you can just freely and openly talk to somebody, and you don't have
That's
to
one
worry.
thing that I know about you guys that's really strong
And you
from
don't
the
have-
beginning.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, like, if I come to them and say something, like, it's just gonna end in a frenzy. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like she said, knowing your partner, like, you gotta know their communication style. But both of y'all gotta be like, look, this is the way we're going to communicate overall. We're gonna respect each other's points of view. Sometimes you gotta be quiet because you got something to say, but they do too. So, and then like what she said, like thinking about sometimes, sometimes I do that. I might be like against something that she's saying, and then I go back and then I give it a few hours, a couple minutes or a day or so, and then I'll be in the car or something, doing a daily routine or something. And I'm thinking about it. And I'm thinking about it from her perspective and point of view, and I'm like, I bring it up at dinner, like, babe, you did say that. You know what? Yeah, I do feel like, you had a point when you said such and such. And I do feel like, yeah, okay, I can compromise a little bit on that. And I understand where you're coming from on that. So it's just, and then, she'll respond like, okay, babe, but then she'll say, on her end, like, yeah, and I get where you was coming from on that. And, then we work it out, and we work it out. Because I always say, and I told her that from the jump, like, the majority of things that we talk about shouldn't be that serious to where we can't just communicate it out. I feel like a lot of times we get razzle dazzle over topics because we're not willing to step outside of self. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Once you choose that empathy and step in their shoes, and you're like, okay, I get where they coming from. I see, but you have to have that willingness to do that continuously every day.
Yeah.
On any topic.
Yes. Yes.
But if you're not willing to do that all the time, that might not be the person that you want to be with.
Right.
Because it should be effortless. I don't think about it. I just do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. That's a big thing that Jenny says about happy marriages. They should be effortless. She went deep into it, but she never said that part. But she believes that 100%.
And that's what I feel.
She always tells me that.
I feel like it just be effortless because it don't be like, oh, I'm struggling to do that. It be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I want to do it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that I'm like I have to do this. It's like I want to do it. It don't feel like a chore. It just feel like assisting.
Exactly.
Wow.
Not be work. I am so tired of people saying, oh, marriage is hard work. You just have to make it work. You just have to. Well, if you have to make it work, then what's the problem? You know what I mean? Like, you guys are not, like, you're not on the same, like, energy field. Like, you're not on the same wavelength. Like, I don't understand. Because it really should not be that difficult. You know what I mean? If both parties have the willingness, you guys have open communication, then it really should not be that much work. I'm not saying you guys have to be the same person. No person is going to be exactly like you. You're two different people. You think differently, and that's okay. Like, my husband and I, we are exact opposites. Oh, my God. Like, I'm an Aries. I'm a hothead. My husband is a Cancer. I mean, in what world is that supposed to make sense? You know what I'm saying? But, like, we are, like, right here. Like, we are on the same level. Like, I cannot explain it. Because there's that willingness to understand one another. Like, we know each other in and out. So it's like, you that has to be there. It's not work, guys. I mean, so do not listen to, older generations when they say, like, oh, you really have to put in the work.
You definitely be saying that.
I mean, yes, you have to put in the work when you have children. Like, okay, so you want to start a family. Like, yes, you got to be a little bit more strategic about your time, right? About your resources. But again, if you guys sat down, had a plan, organized yourselves, like, you should already know going into it, okay, this is what we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. Like, we got this. I'm not saying you have to have your whole life planned out, but at least know that you're going to have some backup plans. Like, you have to have some kind of sense of stability, not just for yourselves, but for your kids.
Whoa. Anyways, so what I think is a happy marriage, like I said, I'm not married. I'm not on my way there, but I could be, but I don't want to be in a fucked up marriage like the rest of y'all. But the reason why I think like people have happy marriages is from what I've seen and what I've read and what I've learned. And I have people around me, like I said, Jenny is like a close friend of mine, and she's in a happy marriage, and I have aunts who are in happy marriages and stuff like that too. I have people around me who are in happy marriages, and I feel like a happy marriage is based off of friendship. Like, you guys need to be friends. Like, are you guys best friends? Not necessarily friends, best friends. Like, have y'all talked about other, people that y'all dated before, you know what I'm saying, when y'all were not together? You know what I'm saying? Like, it like if you talked about somebody you dated before and y'all was you didn't feel like, oh, I'm so mad to where I want to kill the other person that you're dating. You know what I'm saying? It's more so like understanding like, oh, that was just somebody you dated at the time. That was where you were at the time of your life, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like a best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like once things get bad, if I'm having a bad day at work, my person I'm talking to actually listen to what I have to say when I had a bad day at work, you know what I'm saying? Or the person will actually care about my problems, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily you got to care all the way about my problems, but, you know, just give me some insight on what I need to do, you know what I'm saying? Just a friend, like a best friend. Is that person your best friend? Like, would you... Like when you hear some news, like, do you want to hurry up and tell them? Are you excited to tell them? Are you excited to see them? Like, if y'all not best friends, to me, it's not like a good foundation, because you have to see and hang out with this person and be around this person every day. So like when you do activities, you want to be able, like, I want to bring my best friend with me. Like, I love this person. Like, I'm trying to bring my best friend with me. Like, it's a party. Like, I'm trying to turn up with my best friend there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to go to this event without my best friend being with me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, that's like very, very important. Like, if y'all not best friends, then you don't need to be like, if y'all just like, you just love this person, like you just in lust with this person, like I just want to be with this person. Like, that's not, you have to be friends with that person, because you're going to be with them. Like, even if you think about a business and a partnership, like I'm not going into a partnership in a business with somebody I'm not cool with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I know how this person's going to manage my money? Do I know how this person's going to react when we going through bad shit? Like, have I seen this person go through some bad shit and get over it? Then if you had never seen somebody go through some bad shit in a business situation and get over it with a happy smile on their face, then you don't want to be in a partnership with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it should happen in a marriage. Like, have I seen this person go through a bad relationship and bounce back and be happy? If I haven't, or, you know, have I seen them go through a bad situation, period, and bounce back and be happy? If I've never seen that, I don't want to be somebody, I don't want to be with them. You know what I'm saying? They ain't negative. I don't want no negative energy. So I feel like that's super important. Like Jenny said, communication. Steven said communication. Like, you guys need to be able to talk about things. Things are going to happen. And you guys need to be able to discuss them. And you need to be able to get it out. Like, I'm a person who had therapy before, so I probably stress my family and friends out a lot, because every time something happens to me, I have to call them and I have to get it out. You know what I'm saying? Once I get it out, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's not on my chest. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I have to call you guys and get it out, because, like, once it's gone, it's gone. But, like, you guys aren't going to have to hear about it for the rest of your lives. You're going to have to hear about it for these 20 minutes that I'm about to tell you. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't talk to somebody and have communication with them to where you can get all your problems out, and it's gone. Like, you don't want to have problems just sitting there and then bringing them up 20, 10, 15 years later. Like, let's talk about this shit. Talk about every aspect of this shit right now, these 2 hours, 5 hours, how long ever it takes, and get over it. If you don't have that type of person where you've gone through something like that before y'all get married, y'all don't need to get married. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So, like, communication to me, and friendship and communication come with trust. Like, do I trust you, nigga? Like, and like, can I leave my dog here and make sure, is he going to, and when I come back, is he still going to be fat? Like, my dog, Lucky, he's fat. So, like, when I leave my dog with you, is he still going to be chunky? Is he still going to eat every day? Is he going to go to the bathroom, or is he going to run to me like, Mom, I haven't ate all weekend? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's trust. Like, do I trust that you can manage things while I'm gone? You know, do I trust the decision that you're going to make? If not, then that's something that I'm not trying to be with for the rest of my life. So trust, communication, and friendship to me is like the basis from what I have seen. So that's what I think you need. You know? All right, next. What is a myth about marriage that you want to address? You have any myths that you want to address? I'll say
this mainly. I would say this would be mainly one for Jenny, because she's in a marriage right now.
Well, one myth that I want to address is that everybody, like Steven said earlier, he made me think about this because I didn't have no answer to this before. But divorce, like Steven said, 50% or how many percent of marriages get ended in divorce. What about the other part that don't end in a divorce? You know what I'm saying? Let's talk to them people and figure out why they didn't end up in a divorce. Let's talk to the people who did get divorced and figure out why the fuck they did get a divorce. And then we can figure out how to fix the problem. You know what I'm saying? Let's just not throw statistics out there and be like, oh, well, 60% of marriages end in divorce. Like, so I don't want to get married. No. Or every time a woman always gets most of the money when a marriage is ended. Did you get a prenup? Like, did you talk about that? Like, that's the reason why they got that. Because they didn't have a prenup. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like a myth we need to bust is, like, you know, first of all, women don't always get everything. You know what I'm saying? That's because the men didn't prepare. And the second one is the divorce statistics. Like, what? People are going to this shit not prepared to be married. So that's why they're fucking divorced. It's probably like a small percentage of them who thought that they did the work in order for them to get married. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people who go to, like, the pastors, and then they get counseling. And the pastor be like, I don't think y'all ready. And they still do it. And then be like, wonder why they get divorced. Like, yeah. But they'll be like on there. But they'll be like in the statistics. Oh, we did the counseling. We did this. We did that. But once we go into their counseling, what they did, the pastor was like, no. And y'all still did it. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk, like, the statistics of divorce to me is a myth because it's like, we don't know what happened there. It's probably they probably didn't get ready. Like, they probably didn't have no communication. If we're looking at the statistics of mental illness, mental health, and all that, those are high as fuck. So we're having a whole bunch of mentally ill motherfuckers getting into marriages. If we look at the statistics of kids who feel like they were abandoned, it's high. Especially even in, like, two parents households, that shit is high. So you guys are abandoning your responsibilities as parents and thinking that you know, taking care of them financially would help them, you know what I'm saying, in the long run when all they want is your time.
Exactly.
So let's look at other things, you know what I'm saying? It's not just that the partnership didn't work. There's other things that came into play that didn't work, and that's what made the partnership fail.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's the myth that I will want to burst. But, Jenny, you can go ahead.
All right. Wow. I don't know. Like, I feel like this applies to the couples that have kids. You know, I hear this one tossed around a lot, like, you know, oh, we're staying together for the kids, you know, it's what's best for the kids. And my parents are still married. They've been married for over 30 years now, and I think they're in a good place now. You know, but like every marriage, they go through hardships, and you know, the economy goes up, it goes down, and there were periods of unemployment, and that honestly brought the worst out of my parents. And there was a time where I would go to bed and pray that they would just get divorced, because, like, quite frankly, I was tired of being in the house with them. All they did was fight, you know, and you know, the excuse is always like, I'm gonna stay here, you know, we're gonna stay together for the kids. I think, like, you know, why would you put your kids in an unhealthy situation and keep them in an unhealthy household? Like, you know, I'm sorry, but, like, that is not the way to go. That's not the best thing to do. Everyone's always like, well, kids turn out better if they come from a two-parent household. Not necessarily. Like, it boils down to, are they happy? Are they in a happy marriage? Like, are both people,
right?
Like, the
and what is this? What are you saying that they turn out better? That they get better jobs, or like, what does you mean by better? Like, are they mentally better?
Exactly. I mean, like, maybe financially, right?
Right.
I will say, like, we never went without anything. You know what I'm saying? Financially, we were set. But like you just said, like, kids want the time of their parents. They want to be loved. They want affection. They want you to spend time with them. They want you to take interest in, like, what they're interested in. Like, these are your kids. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be molding them. And like, you know, unfortunately, like, my brother and I, we went through periods of that where we didn't really get that kind of attention. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to question that. Like,
yes.
Why? Why are you guys staying together for your kids? Are you serious? Would you rather, like, be in your house and continue to show your kids what an unhealthy relationship looks like? Because honestly, like, that's what I learned. I learned, like, okay, this is not what my marriage is supposed to be like. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the smarter ones, right? But some kids,
I promise,
they leave their house and go, okay, this is what marriage is.
But we should definitely still get married, because that's what we're supposed to do culturally in society. Like,
right.
I feel like in white culture and other cultures outside of black culture, marriage is important. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if I'm whole or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get married. That's what it's going to be if I'm, like, a white or anything other than black. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen.
I didn't
Right.
even want to get married after
That's
I saw that. I was like,
crazy.
you want me to get married and have kids? I was like, what? No. And so I waited to get married. I was almost 28. My husband was 28, going on 29 years old. Like, we got married super late, because I was kind of, for a period of time, guys, I was super against marriage. Because I'm like, if that's what you want me to do, I'm not doing it. It does not look fun. You guys hate each other. Is this what this is? You guys, like, live in the house together and you guys are, like, nasty to each other? Like, I don't want that. I'm just going to go do this by myself. Like, I'm not doing that. And so you have to go through a process of, like, unlearning that and figuring out, like, what a healthy marriage is, what a healthy relationship
To
is.
you.
And like, what you want, ultimately, right? What is good for you, pretty much. So, I don't know. That's my myth. I mean, if you guys are not good together, do not stay together for the kids, because you're damaging them even more.
You really are. Steven, what you think? What's your myth?
I don't really have a myth to really. I don't really have one. I mean, both of y'all's,
Well, you brought up divorce rates earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, divorce rates. I mean, of course. But then you already said, you already tackled the statistics and went into it in deeper depth, Okay, one thing I could think about now that she said, the thing that her family, like, looking and seeing, how their marriage was, is assuming that there's a pamphlet or a booklet on marriage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of times we feel like
to be a certain way.
Yeah, things have to align in a certain way, or things have to be like this or like that, just for you to get married, or you have to do it a certain way. I don't. That's a myth that I feel like people have to.
That's the biggest one, though.
Yeah, people have to
because that's even before you have kids, like.
Yeah, because you think that you gotta get married a certain way, you gotta do it in a certain type of way, and then you be like, oh, if I don't get married this way, I ain't doing it the right way. Well, how do you want to get married?
Exactly.
How do y'all feel about y'all getting married? So it still always boils down to the two people. Y'all gotta really sit there and have that conversation. Like, do we even care about getting married in a certain way? Does it matter? And
you'll be surprised what you find out once you guys sit down and actually talk about it, and stop, like, getting outside resources or outside people to, like, sway your opinion. Like, oh, like, my mom, I will say, like, just being the oldest girl in our family, she's not telling Steven this, but she's telling me, like, you need to have a marriage, because you need to have a wedding, because I am so excited about planning your wedding, and I am so, like, ready to plan your wedding. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to plan my wedding. Yeah, we're going to go give me a dress, but everybody's not going to be there like you think they are. Like, but then you got two other girls, like, one of them might do that way for you, but it's not going to be me.
She got a high probability.
I'm not going to be the one where you have a guest list of 50 people coming to my wedding. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm such a strong female. And marriage is a lot of times built, like, based off of the female's whatever she wants to do. Guys are like, hey, if you don't want a big ass wedding, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to be like, hey, I want to have a big one. You know what I'm saying? Some guys do, but that's rare.
Yeah.
Most of the times, nah. Unless they come for bread.
Right.
If they come from that, then they like, yeah, but they want that because they see that and they think that, that's what's grandiose. Up. And then they having that pressure from mom and dad. If you don't have grandiose,
like, my mom,
it ain't tradition.
She's ready to plan a wedding. I'm just like, if we do, it's not going to be a lot of planning involved, because it's not. It's going to be like 10 people there.
She said flights, location.
Right. And I do that easily.
And guess what? They plan the wedding for you.
See, I don't.
And they say what cake you want, what flowers you want. Go ahead and pick everything you want. We'll take care of the rest.
I don't have time I don't want to, because at the end of the day, I feel like, to be quite honest, like I said, I want to be blessed by the people who's going to get us through it. And I don't feel like, what is the point in, like, having all of these people there? Like,
it's a show.
What are y'all doing? Like, I'm not about to pay for y'all to have a good time. Like, I have a lot of parties anyways, you know what I'm saying? So, I'll invite y'all to a party and we can just turn up. Like, I don't want y'all as something that's so important. I feel like those vibes, that energy, on that day is very important to me. And I feel like I want it to be correct. You know what I'm saying? And so having all y'all there with all y'all fucking opinions is not going to put into it the best type of energy that I want. Right. So I don't want y'all there. You know? Anyways. All right, we're going to skip to the last question, which is, Jenny, do you have advice for people thinking about getting married?
Yeah, what would your advice be to those out there?
I mean, we've basically been giving them advice the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. You know.
What is your most important advice?
Right. What's the most important thing to you?
The most important piece of advice. I don't know. Like, it's kind of a piggyback off of what Steven said. Like, you can make it what you want to make it, right? You don't have to allow other people to put in your head what marriage should be, what your wedding needs to look like, where you think you need to be to get married. That is your decision. It's your decision, like, bottom line, because, when my husband and I decided to get married, he didn't have his career figured out. Like, he was barely finished with school. I was barely done with my master's. We didn't know what direction, like, our lives or our career was going in, but we had a plan. Mm-hmm. That's what's important. Like, you don't need to have yourself together. And I think that a lot of young people think, like, well, I need to, do this, and this, and this before I get married, or I need to have an X amount of dollars in the bank. Well, I need to do this and this, and it's just like,
woo, you preaching.
Yes, like you
to the choir.
Yes, like, you have to have money. I get it. You have to have a job. You have to have, like, your basics, but, like, you have to also understand that, like, it's a partnership, so you guys are going to be moving up together if that's what you want, if that's the plan that you have. You know what I mean? You have to be organized and you have to have a plan because, like previous relationships, they did not end in marriages because either, one of us felt like, oh, well, I don't have this done. Well, I don't have a good job. I don't feel like I can provide for you, or I don't feel like I can do this. And it's like, we were subscribing so much to the stuff that, like, was told to us. You know what I mean? So ultimately you decide where you want it to go, how quickly you want it to go, how comfortable you are with building your life with that person, because no, you're not going to have it all together. If you're going to have it all together and to feel like you can get married, like, you're going to be waiting for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, you may not get married till you're 40 or 50 or 60, or you may not even get married if you are, like, setting such high expectations. You have to be willing to also build your life. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good one.
Come together. Obviously you come with whatever's in your baggage, right? But you help each other grow. You help each other excel. You make more money together. You accomplish more goals together. You become better versions of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you just, you have to do things on your terms, and you just have to stop. You have to stop with, all the stuff that people are telling you about what marriage is supposed to look like, what you're supposed to be doing, how much money you got to have in the bank, what the ring is supposed to look like. Just forget it. Stop listening to people. Do what's right for you guys. Period.
Amen. Steven?
What?
Advice for married couples.
I mean, hey,
or anybody thinking about getting married.
She
you are a person who's probably thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Their future. So, yeah, I guess you are the one needing advice.
Right. And so I was sitting here, I was sitting here soaking up the game like a sponge. You know what I'm saying? I was over here like, all right, I'm intrigued by what she's saying.
Yeah.
I already, share some of those similar ideas, but from hearing it from a person who's married and happy and, seem like they possess some of the similar qualities that we have starting our relationship. So it's like, oh, useful advice, Mm-hmm. So my significant other, we will be re-listening to the cast.
Okay, a few times. Okay,
I'm like, babe, don't worry about what me and Earl say. Listen to Jenny.
Facts.
And we're not perfect. We're still figuring it out. Every day is a new day, and and you just roll with it.
Well, like Steven said, I'm not married, so I don't I don't feel like I'm very well equipped to give advice, but I will say if you are thinking about marriage, there are so many ways for you to just go and look at, like, I watch Black Love a lot on Oprah and the Winfrey Network, and Oprah is a person who I feel like she probably doesn't want to get married because she's so rich, and she knows that any man that wants to get married to her is probably going to want her for the money. And so Black Love does show you a lot of different marriages, like black marriages that have been through a lot of shit and they're still together years, 15, 20 years later. And so just listening to like a whole lot of different perspectives on one topic, like they do one topic each episode, and they have like 5 to 6 different couples talking about the same topic and how they, maneuver through it, is something that, helps me like just understand, like, marriage period. I'm not going to go off of what they're saying, but I'm just saying, like, overall you're able to see, like, if you work towards it, or if you're willing to get through it. If you had, like, some of them be like, oh well, we had bad communication before we got married, so this topic was bad for us because we didn't have good communication, but we learned that after we went through all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? After we almost got divorced. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what you need to take from it. Don't take necessarily how they reacted to it. Take the overall, lesson, which is have good communication. You know what I'm saying? Or be friends first. You know what I'm saying? Not just lustly. Like, one couple was very, like, one girl really wanted her man so bad, and so he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna fuck with her. And you know what I'm saying? And they ended up being together, but they ended up not being together. And I see him on another, reality show with a different housewife, you know what I'm saying? And that was because he, you know what I'm saying, their relationship was built off of lust and not friendship. And so, like, on Black Love, when you see a lot of the, on anything that you watch, I'm just saying Black Love, example, you see that a lot of couples that make it far, they're friends. Like, they're like, man, this is my friend. Like, they talking crazy to each other on there. They're chilling with each other on there, but they still love each other. You know what I'm saying? So, just try to, like, look at things objectively. Like, if you see a marriage fail, find out what was the core issue there, why they failed. Another thing I watch is called Unfaithful on Oprah. And it's like where people cheat on people and they're married. And then the overall thing is like they didn't talk about what the man was going through or what the woman was going through. And they was lacking like love. They was lacking like communication. They was lacking like affection. And so they went and found that from somebody else. So let's not think, oh, all of our men going to fucking cheat on us. No, let's get from that. The men cheated because they were lacking affection, lacking, happiness, lacking that, communication from their wives. And that's why they went and found something else. You know what I'm saying? And then take that and be applied to your marriage. Like, oh, we need to make sure our communication is right. We need to make sure our affection is right. Make sure we're having time together. Let's not skip out on dates. And let's pay attention to each other. When you don't pay attention to each other, things can happen. You know what I'm saying? So, and, I wouldn't say that's advice for people, married people, but I would say that's advice for people who are thinking about getting married. Just, like, look at things objectively. When you look at statistics of marriage, look at things from a higher level. Don't look at it as, they got a divorce, so we might get a divorce. No, like, think of it like, let's go into the statistics a little bit more and figure out why that particular couple got a divorce, and then you'll see what you should do or see what you need to have a successful marriage. So that is my advice.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Cool. So thank you so much, Jenny, for being here as usual. You're awesome. And like I said, we didn't get to have as many couples on here, but I feel like we still had 3 different perspectives on what marriage is. And so, in 3 different, paths for black people right now anyways. Because as a black person, you're either where I am, where you're not really fucking with it, you're single, or you're where Steven is in a relationship and you're almost getting to a marriage, or you're Jenny, you've been in a marriage already for like 5+ years. And so, it's still a great group, you know what I'm saying? So, I just want you guys to see all different types, and I want you guys to really understand that marriage is something that it's not bad, and black people should definitely be trying to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's it's just subjective. Like we are two different people from everybody. We're two people from out of billions of people on the earth. We're with two different experiences. So we're not going to have the same marriage as everybody else, and stop thinking it should be the same as everybody else's.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you start thinking of your marriage as your partnership for you and your person, then you will start to understand that what other people think does not fucking matter.
Nope. And with that, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. So, like, thank you guys. Like, subscribe, share, and, you know, hit us up if you like the podcast and let us know what you guys think. And thank you. We'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.